The following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Hi, Cap Steve for BoatTEST.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at a gorgeous boat from Four Winns, the H290. She's a large bow rider full of amenities, and we're here to see how she handles and what we can expect for performance, fuel burn, and economy. So let's get to it and start with the dimensions. The Four Winns H290 has a length overall of 29 feet 6 inches, a beam of 9 feet 5 inches, and a draft of 36 inches. With an empty weight of 8,700 pounds, 90 gallons of fuel, and 2 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 9,660 pounds. That puts her firmly toward the top of the list in the heavyweight class, and since we're not really concerned with trailering, we view this as a positive as it should translate into a more solid ride. But will it compromise the fuel economy? We'll see. Let's take a look at what she's riding on. Four Winns calls this a stable V-hull. It's a stepped hull, but here, instead of the step being at midships, it's located well aft at the quarters of the hull. Also, notice the teardrop aspect to the geometry. The forward edge is curved as it runs towards the keel, and then it comes up to a reverse chine running fully forward. Also notice how the running surface extends well past the transom and certainly the running gear. This should give us quicker times to plane, and we should also expect lower planing speeds. And look at this chromed highlight just ahead of the hull side window. That's a beautiful complement to the polished anchor running through the stem. On board, she's also feature-packed. Let's start with the helm. This is a console indicative of the upscale nature of the boat itself. There's a leather-wrapped brow on top to knock down glare, and it's hand-stitched with UV-resistant thread. Below are analog gauges for speed and RPMs mounted to a carbon fiber panel covered in clear plastic. To both sides are the trim gauges, and in clear view is the separate fuel gauges showing the level of the 120-gallon fuel tank. That's among the highest capacity we've seen in class. So again, we're seeing a trend of the hull design possibly offsetting any concerns for weight. The Garmin 741 GPS is standard and mounted to a sub-panel on the cabin door. We didn't have any problems with viewing it, but it'd be nice to see it on a beveled mount angle towards the operator. The clutter is kept off the panel thanks to the dual Volvo Penta EVC displays and their selectable information. The switches are all attached to mounts cut from billet aluminum, and the toggles are lighted to show when activated. This is a nice touch. The ignitions are well aft of the starboard bulkhead. This keeps them clear of the panel and out of range for getting bumped, bent, and certainly well clear of the knee strike zone. Rockers for the trim tabs are just ahead, and these include the LED indicators to the sides. And of course we have the digital engine controls that offer a host of optional features, cruise mode, single lever, etc. And in another nod towards the premium level, we have the stern drive joystick. We'll see how well it's dialed in at the dock. The seat is a single but certainly wider for added comfort. It includes a flip-up bolster as standard. There's also a molded footrest for added comfort. A switch at the helm elevates the aft seats, exposing the engines. The 290 is offered with engines ranging from 300 horsepower on up to 430 horsepower. Here, we have the base Volvo Penta V8-300s turning DP outdrives. This lower end of the power spectrum should put aside any concerns about how this hull performs, as we're not pouring horsepower into the boat to counter added weight. We also notice that the bottom of the engine compartment is fully lined, not just back-gelled. Now, there's no manual disconnect for the rams that lift the engine hatch, so we were concerned about how to access the compartment in the event of a power failure, until we saw the external battery lugs under the seat. This also makes it easy to connect the inflators for the water toys. The switches for the batteries are behind a door just to the right of the cockpit walkthrough from the swim platform. The automatic discharge fire extinguisher is standard, and there's a manual release in the cockpit reachable by anyone. Usually, we see these only at the helm for the captain to activate. The cockpit is also fully lined with deck drains to both sides. Okay, so let's get on the water and see what's what. With the pair of 300 horsepower Volvo Penta V8 engines turning DP outdrives with FH5 prop sets, we reached a top speed of 51.9 miles per hour at 5,100 RPM. So much for the weight holding her back. At that speed, we were burning 44 gallons per hour, giving us a range of 127 miles. Her most economical cruise was found to be at 3,000 RPM and 28.4 miles per hour. That speed reduced the fuel burn to 15.8 gallons per hour, which translates to a range of 194 miles while still holding back a 10% reserve. And now any concerns for the economy are checked off the list. We reached planing speed in 3.4 seconds, so that validates the extended running surface. She also stayed on plane as far down as 2,000 RPM, so again, the benefits of this hull are self-evident. She accelerated to 20 miles per hour in 4.3 seconds and continued past 30 miles per hour in 6.4 seconds. She's quite comfortable in turns. She leans 11 degrees into the turn, and there's no grab or bite that sends everyone flying off to one side. Quite the opposite, so go ahead and enjoy a beverage while maneuvering. So here's where the weight is a distinct advantage. As we're crossing wakes, there's no launching off and catching air, no slamming into the wave, just a smooth crossing with minimal spray. Again, the comfort level just keeps coming through. And finally, docking. With the stern drive joystick, it turns out it is dialed right in perfectly. With minimal effort, we were able to slide her right over with all the precision we expected, and then just gently laid her up against the dock. A perfect end to a great test. While we're at rest here at the dock, let's go through some of the H290's features that really stood out. First, at the bow, where Four Winns has tweaked the conventional design. Instead of 2 lounges, we have a cutout on the port side seating. This accommodates a table for snacks. Adding cushions not only creates 2 lounges, but also turns this area into a large sun pad. This measures 5 feet by 6 feet 10 inches. The L-shaped seating at the cockpit continues the upholstery color scheme. The rear bench seat also has an electrically moving back that allows for maximizing the seat facing either forward or back. On the starboard side is a wet bar complete with a stainless steel sink, a nice counter with room for food prep. Underneath houses a refrigerator. We'll make our way up to the transom using the molded steps and through the gate. The transom seating is 5 feet 10 inches across and has a non-skid surface on the platform for those partaking in water sports. To round out the features on this boat, we'll head back into the cockpit, and in front of the observer seat is the head compartment. This head compartment has 4 feet 11 inches of headroom and also houses a sink, light, and privacy curtain. Opposite of the head compartment is the H290's impressive overnight sleeping area. This has a privacy curtain, lights, 3 feet 10 inches of headroom, and a length of 7 feet 6 inches of sleeping area, sure to make overnights less of a compromise. So we've proven that this hull has marked effectiveness. We didn't need gobs of horsepower to offset the heavy weight, and that the weight in fact only adds to her comfort level. She has better than expected economy and a surprising amount of amenities for a 29-foot boat. And that's our look at the H290 from Four Winns. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.